It's me. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, we'll be talking a bit about multimodal action models. What Pranav presented was sort of the background around how we expect to evaluate next generation models, but we're also building them. And so this is kind of the research project that's covering that direction. One thing to sort of motivate is our perspective on why generalist multimodal models matter. Obviously, these days, AI agents are the rage, and you're seeing sort of, a spectrum of different takes on capabilities. Some are very structured and simple, have simple sort of programmatic sort of imperative setups. Whereas in other ones, you start to see LLMs in the driver's seat, doing things like function calling. And now we even have sort of computer use as a very exciting direction, which we actually are also working on, and Locke will be talking about shortly. But the idea of building truly multi-capable agents that can dynamically do tasks across different modalities is still something that we haven't really yet seen. And one of the research perspectives that we as a group have, and some of our collaborators have as well, is that it has to do with the underlying learner. So we're really excited about this concept of building new kinds of foundation models that are trained on a variety of different data distributions that cover everything from different modalities like vision or language, but also grounding those modalities into things like control tasks, and then using that learner to fine tune into different application areas. And there's sort of an emerging history to these kinds of models that you can trace through time, including a history here at Manifold. We've worked on models like this for the past few years. So all the way from a few years ago, with the release of Gato from DeepMind, well, there was never actually code release, but the sort of paper release of this model, people started to toy with the idea of unifying or trying to jointly ground across a bunch of different modalities and seeing what that model can do. Over time, you've started to see the emergence of vision language action models. You heard Pranav talk about them in the context of some of the assessments and evaluations we're doing. And recently, you can see OpenVLA, Pi0. These models exhibit interesting improvements in downstream action performance on robotics tasks, often for specific sort of embodiments, but sometimes many sets of embodiments, by leveraging some sort of implicit knowledge that's within language and vision. And so they're often using pre-trained backbones of large language models or large or vision language models to effectively transfer to these action domains. And even more recently, you see more aggressive projects like Magma trying to basically do this at a larger scale. And so we're really excited about and are actively building. Historically, we built Neko, which was the first sort of open implementation of a Gato style model. And we are building new kinds of foundational, what we think of as omnimodal action models. And so we really think about these in the early days as models that are trained on, yes, these large sort of multimodal pre-training distributions, but they're really trained to go from any modality to any modality, and specifically to be able to spit out actions, right? So we think of these as almost from the sort of RL formulation or robotics formulation, forcing these models to act on world scenes. And in doing so, building a new kind of foundational learner that can fine tune into a lot of really, really useful action grounded applications and hopefully realize the dream of autonomous AI agents, or at least make a big step in that direction. So this is very early for us. Right now, we haven't launched any public models yet, but we're totally, recruiting to work on this in the open source and try to make as much progress here as possible. So if you're interested in working on this, please reach out. And this work isn't really limited to, looking at models in isolation. Obviously, it touches state-of-the-art evals like Pranav was discussing, and also trying to leverage these for some of the tool use applications we're thinking about, which is the perfect transition to Locke's presentation, which is coming next. I wanted to point out that this work and Multinet and also the software control work that Locke is about to present are in collaboration with MedArc AI as well as the Multisensory Intelligence Group at MIT. So if you'd also like to collaborate from an organizational standpoint, please reach out. And you can reach out to Pranav Rai in particular about this project to just understand more or ask any questions. So